right, welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the beatzillapdx official news break. And this right here today, we are going to discuss the Congressional Black Caucus. They came out today, as you see on the screen, talking about Buffalo Strong, which you know it was a anti-black racial racist attack by a white supremacist domestic terrorist. And they are rolling out their Congressional Black Caucus to now disturb and disrupt the seriousness of the situation to now involve other groups. Once again, trying to shoehorn other groups in the conversation that strictly only deals with foundational Black Americans exclusively. And then also any Black person that is here in this country as an immigrant. The great replacement theory is referring to replacers, and the only people who can procreate on that level are Black people, melanated folks across the world. So, understanding code words and gaslighting terms have been used. And unfortunately, these old Negroes on the screen definitely know better, but they are acting like this is an opportunity to use Black murders under the guise of white supremacy to use to cape for every other group, as they'll never cape just for Black folks. So without further ado, let's hear the Congressional Black Caucus spew out their talking points, and we are just going to have to simply break this down, because if you watched my broadcast from yesterday on the midweek report, we proved to you that Joe Biden himself has subscribed to the great replacement theory. So we are going to break this down.
For joining us here today, I want to especially thank the Tri-Caucuses for helping convene this press conference. We all have a shared outrage and common goal.
Now, the Tri-Caucuses only came out because they are being involved in this by our so-called Black Caucus. So they don't have, it's not like they came out and supported this on their own. They got them people to add into the mix.
End the hate-filled violence that is plaguing our nation. I also want to thank Representative Brian Higgins, who represents Buffalo and just returned from that area this morning. His leadership is greatly appreciated in the face of this unspeakable racist attack. It is heartbreaking to stand here today, just days after 10 innocent lives were taken in Buffalo, New York, in a grocery store by a gunman espousing white supremacy, supremacist views.
Anti-Black views and repeated anti-Black views, and made Black people, as he identified them as, what did he call them? The replacers, or the, I can't remember the word he uses. Invaders, which is actually a projection of a white supremacist, because remember, the religion of white supremacy is deception. So right off the rip, the great replacement theory comes off as a lie to begin with, because it simply is.
And hatred towards African Americans. This devastating massacre took me back to June 17, 2015, when another white supremacist gunned down 9 parishioners at Charleston's historic Emmanuel AME Church.
Now, right there, you should get a hate crime bill specifically protecting Black people in America, since they are the one group who has the longest record of anti-Black violence, anti-hate or pro-hate violence, shall we say. Victims of lynching, victims of Jim Crow, victims of getting dogs sicked on them legally, water hoses turned on them legally. And these are citizens, not immigrants, not invaders, no, people whose ancestors built this country and were treated like less than human beings by its own government. No one sits in the seat of black folks right there at all.
In the intervening years, we have witnessed far too many other acts of domestic terrorism, from a counter-protest in Charlottesville, Virginia, to a synagogue in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to a Walmart in El Paso, Texas.
He forgot Pulse nightclub too. Since you're trying to add everybody else in there, let's add all mass shooters in. But this is different. And they keep trying to make this look like everything else because they want to make this about gun control versus it being about anti-black violence. Make no mistake, this problem is anti-black violence, and the people who subscribe to the great replacement theory are not just MAGA people, but Joe Biden himself subscribes to the great replacement theory, and I can prove it.
To a Sikh temple in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, and an Asian-owned nail salon in Atlanta, Georgia. All told, over 200 mass shootings this year. To be sure, all these shootings have not been racially motivated or motivated by hate, but all of them share one thing in common. They are all committed in a country too tolerant of irresponsible regulations of weapons of war.
Whoa. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. See, stop talking to black folks like they stupid. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to talk to you as if you're stupid and they have some kind of compassion for you. But take a look on the screen and you will see very much differently. No, they absolutely do not care about you one bit because this is what's on the screen. So let me go ahead and keep playing because this is a blatant lie that he's trying to tell black folks in America.
And a proliferation of firearms of mass destruction. The Domestic Terrorism Prevention Act we passed yesterday is long overdue. It would enable the Justice Department, the Department of Homeland Security, and the FBI to prevent, investigate, and prosecute cases of domestic terrorism more effectively. I and many of my colleagues standing with me today know what it is to experience acts of racial hatred and witness events of domestic terrorism. We cannot continue to turn a blind eye to white supremacist vigilantes. It impacts all of us. While the gunman in Buffalo was aiming for people who looked like me, others who did not look like me fell victims to this evil act.
Wrong there, buddy. Only one random white woman, and he actually went out of his way not to kill the white man. So stop telling people that lie and talking to people like they stupid. Now, this type of press conference is for all of the politically ignorant and the people who only get their news from their trusted, reliable liars. That's why you're seeing Al Sharpton in front of the camera so incredibly much right now. However, like I said, it looks like Ben Crump kind of went off script asking for a specific anti-black racism bill because he's heard the banging of the drums out here from the grassroots. These people that are in front of you right now on the screen are absolutely working against you. And you voted for these people. I gotta wonder why.
Shortly after my first meeting with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. back in 1960, I met with one of my professors, Ms. Rosa Harris, to share the Saul to Paul transformation I was experiencing.
You heard the first point of contact. If he met Dr. Martin Luther King then, I'm imagining then he had solid contact with Bayard Rustin, the CIA snitch and Fed infiltrator of the black movement, and operative, and was telling all kind of stuff. So I'm sure that totally makes sense. Totally makes sense.
2 days later, Mrs. Harris handed me a copy of Dr. King's 1958 book, Stride Toward Freedom. To share one passage from that book, I quote, "True peace is not merely the absence of tension, it is the presence of justice. The Domestic Terrorism Prevention Act will provide federal agencies with necessary tools to help ensure that peace and justice prevail."
Peace and justice are on your screen right now. All you need to do is break off black folks with the reparations that they're due, give them the give us the protected class status that we're due, and we can go forward from that. But until that has taken place, like other people who are new to this country have already received, you can't really address us about much until you address us correctly, properly, and in order. And right now, you guys are out of order. And we no longer have time to waste with you being in the way because you refuse to follow the code. Black empowerment, but all y'all want to do is go against it. Time is up. Time is up.
But we must do more. We must acknowledge this country has a problem with race. Until we do that, we cannot address the cause of these racially motivated crimes, and we cannot find adequate solutions.
Oh, you don't say. Well, let's pause for the cause real quick. Since you can't find adequate solutions, you found them for the Asians, no problem, and got that bill signed. But maybe this is part of the problem, is because the person who is willing y'all out here to spew this nonsense actually subscribes to the exact same theory, the great replacement theory. You don't believe me? Well, just take a listen to this.
This country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. Hear me? Minority white European. And you guys are going to have to start working more with Hispanics, who make up a larger portion of the population than y'all do.
Thanks to all of the laws that you have made. But that still isn't true. And here's the point about the Hispanics. None of them will do what we do. So there is no reason to say, well, we're getting overran. That can easily be remedied because they ain't going to do what we do. That's the bottom line of that. No colonized individual can ever overtake the oppressed. That's a losing battle. So don't even fall into that. The Hispanics need the white minority to even remotely have any kind of pull. And what we're saying is, we're going to let you acknowledge what you really are and stop selling us a fraud of what you're really not. And you are not a majority, you're a minority, and we have these old bootlicks who are still trying to sell us on that old lie.
I'm pleased now to yield to the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, Congressman Joyce Brown.
Thank you, Whip Clyburn.
Whip. Here's another problem that nobody has even really paid any attention to. He is the whip. Do you understand what the hell that means when you have the whip of the Congressional Black Caucus sitting right there talking to you and talking about what he can't do, but was just talking to black folks crazy last week at his fish fry about reparations, but he don't know how to find justice now. I call shenanigans. I call shenanigans. But the reason why they don't know, once again, because they'll sit in a Zoom meeting with this dude who's totally bought into the great replacement theory. Oh, you thought I was talking about Donald Trump. Wrong. I'm talking about Joe Biden.
This country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. Hear me? Minority white European. And you guys are going to have to start working more with Hispanics, who make up a larger portion of the population than y'all do.
And Kamala just right there co-signing. Sister girl, yes, yes. But we already know what her get down is.
Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No.
All right.
I'm Congresswoman Joyce Brown, and I am here today to discuss the replacement theory as a key plank in the Republican platform.
Uh-oh.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
See, now here's where the lie comes in. As a plank in the Republican platform,
This country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because.
okay. So no, this is not a Trump thing.
I'm here to call out the Republican Party.
This country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. Hear me?
For making the racist replacement theory, yes, a plank in their Republican Party platform.
This country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. Hear me? Minority white European.
So this obviously does not come from the Republicans, and it's most definitely not the platform that they have ran on, because they're not the ones in power who said that America would be doomed, not just because of the blacks, which automatically assumes that anytime black people are in power or majority numbers, well, man, the world's coming to an end. And that is not out of a Republican MAGA mouth. That is out of a Democrat President Joe Biden's mouth. That's why I keep playing it. I don't give a damn how much they keep lying to us. Listen to it again.
This country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. Hear me? Minority white European.
As chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, I call for my fellow Tri-Caucus members and congressional leaders to stand.
Since when have you even heard the term Tri-Caucus? Now all of a sudden it's a Tri-Caucus when black folks get attacked. But nobody about nothing else has came to our, you got the Hispanic caucus, and now they're talking about Tri-Caucus in a black caucus held meeting. Why? If you're not going to get something that is just one group, which is the group to which you are named after. So, man, let me tell you something. These are your so-called leaders, and we have to make a change. And I mean, we have to make a change immediately. Do you hear the way they are talking? Just know we're not being facetious or mean or jumping the gun when we scream this term.
To watch these old niggas.
That's a fact.
And in unity against this white supremacy conspiracy theory that perpetuates the racist, xenophobic, Islamic, and anti-Semitic lie that non-white immigrants are brought here to repopulate majority white countries and disempower white voters. This is a lie. It is a lie that is rooted in old school colorism and eugenic ideology that has already inspired multiple attacks on ethnic and religious minorities. My friends, we cannot be silent. Shootings in an African American church, a Pittsburgh synagogue, an El Paso shopping center.
See, then here we go. They keep going on about everyone else who has been harmed. But see, here's the problem. These people are not for black people. And again, let me put this back on the screen if my computer wants to act correct here. Let me put this back on the screen. This is Dr. Khalid Muhammad's 7-point plan of action. Remember what Jimbo Jangles Clyburn just said. We don't know how to find peace and justice. Well, number one, in police murder, brutality, and harassment of our people. That'll be one great part to help. Number two, self-defense of the black community. Build a people's militia. That sounds like a good way to make sure and ensure peace. Because, see, some violent people only respect violence. Number three, control of the politics and economics in our communities. Build independent political, social, and financial institutions in our community. Now, this is something that this Congressional Coon Black Caucus is really trying to undercut, undermine, and make sure it doesn't happen. That number three part is one thing that the Congressional Black Caucus is dead set against this community having. Number four, build independent community-controlled schools. Add that to number three with the Congressional Black Caucus of what it is that they seek to destroy. Number five, of course, you can add this with the last two, because this is also something that they're seeking to destroy, and you can tell that right out of Jim Clyburn's mouth at a fish fry when he's trying to get elected. Five, reparations for the descendants of foundational Black Americans, freedmen, and descendants of chattel slavery right here in America. Number six, free all political prisoners and prisoners of war. And number seven, which is the biggest problem to national security, let J. Edgar Hoover tell it, which is Black unity. Number seven, self-determination for the Black nation. And there you have it, folks. That is how you can get peace and justice. And do not let these bootlicks tell you that there has never been uttered a plan out here before, because the plan was uttered before some of these people even got into office.
And a rampage at 3 spas in Atlanta. Time and time again, domestic terrorists are using the great replacement theory to justify their slaughter.
And this right here that you see on the screen, let's go back. Abortion comes from Margaret Sanger. Margaret Sanger came and brought the abortion idea through way of the Negro Project, which is a eugenics program to exterminate and thin out the numbers of foundational Black Americans. So this is not something new. This great replacement theory just gets written down later in white supremacist history. But this always was their belief. Don't let these people fool you like the internet is some new wheel that sparked white supremacy. No, this country was built on it, and you have presidents like Thomas Jefferson that would even proclaim that he was a white supremacist. So when you have former presidents and all of these other people, this is the history of this country. Let's stop talking to black folks like we don't know. We have our scholars and we have our major figures. And with that being said, I want to say real quick, shout out and rest in powerful peace to one Malcolm X, Malik El Shabazz. Today is his birthday. Salute, 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 salute. You have taught us well, and I hope that we represent your message and what you represented and have furthered it to be beyond your belief of what things could be today, while we putting foots to asses and keeping hands on necks. Out here on this pull-up summer era in this grassroots black first space. This is a lifestyle, not a phrase. So, and it is a greeting nonetheless. Like I said, you go deeper, that's when you run your paperwork. How long have you been visible? So, with this being said, I want you to listen and look and learn to how they literally play you, try to dupe you, and then tell you that you should share your resolve when you're the only one harmed. You should share your resolve with other groups. That's absolute garbage, and we should reject that at every turn. So with that being said, remember this.
We put it in the frame of reference. Everyone, when they talk about racism and white supremacy, should always start by saying that the focus, the objective should be replace white supremacy with justice. Those are the 5 basic words.
Replace white supremacy with the system of justice. These people are not ignorant. They're out here to smoke screen you. And right now they're trying to use some fictitious straw man argument that the Republicans have something to do with subscribing to white supremacist ideology. White supremacist ideology is not inherent to a party of a political prowess. It is inherent to a particular lifestyle. And the lifestyle is that of white privilege. The white supremacist domination, that privilege that they enjoy is something they absolutely do not want to dissolve and give up, although the birth rates are thinning. Shout out Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, because we do finally understand and see it manifest before our faces that they are absolutely worried about genetic annihilation. So don't let these bootlicks get out here and tell you otherwise and tell you that all white supremacists do not subscribe to this. So this proves to you, if they are saying that if you subscribe to the great replacement theory, then you are subscribing to white supremacist ideology. And so one more time for the road.
This country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. Hear me? Minority white European. And you guys are going to have to start working more with Hispanics, who make up a larger portion of the population than y'all do.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We hear you, Joe. So with that being said, family, I am going to get on out of here. I just wanted to get that little tidbit out for you, give you that little bit of break, because it was needed. You know what I'm saying? It was definitely needed. And I'm going to leave you with some hopefully some new blood in the Senate and the congressional race, because that Congressional Black Caucus absolutely has to go. And we need people in there that really do truly represent us and our interests. So with that being said, I want y'all to take care, and I will see y'all on the weekly wrap up. Y'all be safe. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, beatzillapdx official. And if you want to donate something on it, you definitely can on this broadcast, on this platform. That's CashApp, $beatzillapdx, CashApp, $beatzillapdx. And of course, at PayPal, that is Zilla Muzak. That's ZILLAMUZAK. And with that being said, we will see y'all on the next go around. Y'all stay easy, stay free, stay vigilant, and stay alive. Shalom, y'all.
Hey y'all, Greg Marcel Dixon here. You probably heard of me, candidate for South Carolina's 6th Congressional District. Yep, I'm that reparations guy, and I'm a Democrat. Now those may not be your key issues, but let's talk about some things that are important to you. Do you believe that the Second Amendment right of all law-abiding citizens should be protected? I am a concealed weapons permit holder by the state of South Carolina, and I will fight to protect your Second Amendment rights throughout this entire nation. But what about the right to life? You can believe that I will fight to protect all beating hearts. Do you feel that illegal immigration is a crime and should be treated as such, as we do with all crimes? So do I. So even though we may not agree on everything, I am sure we agree on a lot of the issues which are important.
If you're tired of being censored on social media, join 6zeros.net. It's black owned, black operated, and black moderated. And we make sure it stays a safe space for us to talk about all things black culture. We also got some cool gear like the FDM cotton crew neck, the Fearless Ancestors tee, hats, and more. Check us out at 6zeros.net.
Hey girl, why are you so sad?
I just got banned from Twitter again.
Should have been on 6zeros.net. Ah.